I decided to set up my own advertising agency in order to leverage this expertise, this position. And I took out 3,500 square foot of space in Old Street, and I hired my cousin, who was unemployed at the time, and thought we were off, and then pretty soon realized I needed clients, and the only way to get clients was to be a genuine, a bona fide expert. And the way to become a bona fide expert is by writing a book. So I wrote a book, and I then bought 5,000 copies of the book to send out as a direct mailer to all of the CEOs of the companies I wanted to be my clients. And as a result of buying these 5,000 copies, the book became an international business bestseller. and I was asked then to go and lecture on this new way of thinking about brand, which I'll... To be honest, the book was bloody simple. It was a very simple book. I took Buddhism and turned it into a business model. Right thought, right word, right action. So the idea behind it was very simple. A brand is not a logo. A brand is not a design, a Pantone color, or a typeface. It's not about you must have it 2 millimeters from the left and 1 centimeter up from the right. You know, it's not about that. Branding is about promises. And promises come from the heart, and promises are about clarity. So really this book, what it said was, in fact, I could sum the whole book up with 3 lines. It said, know what it is you're trying to say it with clarity, and then do what you said you were going to do when you said you were going to do it. That is success. That is a formula for success in brand. It's a formula for success in business. And it's a formula for success personally. If you know what you're trying to say, and then you express it clearly, and then you do what you said you were going to do, when you said you were going to do it, you cannot fail but succeed. I fail all the time in doing those simple things. In any event, this book went on to me growing this agency from 2 to 65 people over a 3-year period. We gained some fabulous accounts, and then I sold it, which coincided with the birth of my baby daughter, who's now 5. I sold it in August 2001. If any of you don't have kids, I mean, have kids. That's another fabulous rule, I think, in life. She's a great blessing. And luckily, she was born in August 2001. This was just before September the 11th. So I sold it at an absolute peak, and I then, my wife, who's genuinely talented, she's a shoe designer, was just graduating from the Royal College of Art and decided to invest in her business, in our business now together, and we've gone on that journey, which is a hell of a journey when you're in business with your wife. It's an interesting journey. What I'm going to tell you about now is I'm going to share with you the experience that I had and lace into it some of the ideas that I developed as a result of that first adventure, which was in the world of tobacco. And I've called this Brand Leadership Profiting from the Truth, because I feel there's something very, very important around this word truth. And I think it's also important to lace that together with profit. And brand, in my view, is a fantastic tool for everybody here. It's completely relevant for HR, comms, and call centers. Brand is a tool for leadership. It's not about pushing stuff. It's about understanding. It's about empathy. It's about love. So branding is a tool for leadership, and hopefully that concept of truth and love is something that I'll be able to develop during this presentation. I have a personal mantra, a personal belief, which is very straightforward. It's this: wherever there's a hidden agenda or an outright lie, there's the potential for profit. And that concept has guided me. So in other words, in my worldview, problems are great blessings. They're opportunities for change. You know, if there's something that you don't quite want to face up to that's niggling at you, you have a choice with those problems. You can either address them, look them in the eye, stare them down, talk at them, recognize them, learn from them, and develop into the next greatest version of you as a result of that problem. Or you can stick your head in the sand and hope that problem's going to go away and ignore it. And in my life, I found that whenever I've tried to ignore a problem, it's come back in some other format to bite me in the arse. You know, I've never been able to get away from problems. So a great way of thinking about it is this: if you've got loads of problems in your life, you are truly blessed. The universe is embracing you, is kissing you with these problems and giving you ample opportunities to change. The more problems, the more opportunities. Eventually you'll have so many problems that you'll be forced to change. I think, you know, these universal kicks in the teeth that one receives, like the £876,000 overdraft, move us forward. They're part of the evolutionary process. In any event, my view in business is wherever there's a hidden agenda or an outright lie, there's a potential for profit. In all of your companies, there will be some taboo. There will be some horror. There will be something you don't want to talk about. You certainly don't want to make public. You definitely don't want to address. And I recommend getting that grandma out of the closet and dancing her around your boardroom table and watch her bones shake about and watch the cash fall out of her pockets. Because that's where the breaks are in business. The breaks in life are in our personal problems, and the breaks in business, the breaks on in business, are in the areas we don't want to discuss. Well, this is going to sound like a fairy tale. It's going to sound like a Cinderella story. I want you to know that it's all true and that none of the names have been changed. And it's about the tobacco business. I'm going to sum up the tobacco business very, very quickly. The tobacco business is a volume game where the government make all the money. 86% of the selling price of a packet of fags is tax. In my view, the guy who's taking 86% of the revenue is the guy who's selling the product. Governments sell cigarettes. Tobacco companies are just given the license to collect the cash. So tobacco companies are just glamorous tax collectors. And in all of this game, this £18 billion farm called tobacco, there is one key word around which the whole industry revolves, and that word is health. And it's a huge problem, this word, for the seller, because on the one hand, you've got the health of the nation, in terms of the damage caused by tobacco consumption, versus, on the other hand, the health of the exchequer in terms of the revenues generated as a result of tobacco taxation. And that's a real problem. That fulcrum can be summarized with this taboo. This is the horror. This is the nightmare. Cigarettes are the only legally available consumer product which kill people when used exactly as intended.